Hello, dear viewers. Here we are, commenting our Smurf accounts, which we spotted in our AO2 games, as we told we would do. And following the introduction, which was published like 1 or 2 hours ago, I'm now going to refer of the two Smurfs I detected today, to different gameplays. And in this first video, I will start with the first Smurf, which was this one, named ThePath. Player named ThePath. I'll load the replay and I'll put him on it. So first thing, this player, these were the stats of this player. He had 140 games in one-on-one, and I mean I can check definitely. I'll check the path in the ranking system. Here too. I'm sure we'll find the identity of the player. The path. Right. This guy is the face of a dork. I went to the Age of Empires ranking system. I look for the path, and this one. I have it, this guy. So this individual, he has 70 wins and 70 losses, something like that. This kind of map, I don't have all the things here. Oh, here. He has 70 wins and 77 losses in one-on-ones. And he does not play team games. On team games, he has nothing. So this is already an indice that I've been matched against a Smurf, because he only plays one-on-ones and no team games. Very strange. That you play only team games or only one-on-ones is very strange. And the second thing, before that, we start to say about the game content itself, the so-called Smurf flair, is that he has almost a 50% win rate. You know, between 70, I'm looking at here, between what is it? Yeah, this thing. Between 70 wins and 77 losses, you know that it's not that different. You know, it's almost a 50% straight. It's almost a 50% win rate. Very strange. And these are already the indicators that I was probably facing a Smurf. But since he only had 1v1s, I guarantee you that he is a Smurf, especially considering the gameplay displayed. Because I have 1400 games, as you see in the previous introduction video, 700 victories and another 700 more defeats in the team games, like hundreds of games of experience. And this guy was still able to outmaneuver me. Nah, no way he has less games or the same games as me. He has at least 2 or 3 times more the number of games I played. So we'll be looking at the rest since the beginning, but with his own view. And just look at the first 2 seconds. 1, 2, 3. In 3 seconds, this piece of Smurf, do not call it anything else. First second, 2 villagers to build a house. Second, the third villager to build a second house. And third second, the scout goes directly for the sheep. I call this the Hulk reflex trap, because he's able to react much faster, if not a lot much faster than anyone else in his comparable level. And that's a giveaway that this is not an 800 elo play. No way, sir. No way. Guaranteed above 1k, guaranteed above 1k. You don't have these quick reflexes out of nowhere, and much less with 140 games practiced. Forget about that. So this was the second in this, that the second evidence that he was a Smurf, the Hulk, so-called Hulk reflex trap. Now look, next. He already uses the sheep to explore, and look at what? Hotkeys. Hotkeys itself does not make you a Smurf, right? No, but every Smurf will use and abuse extensively of hotkeys. And look at the hotkey path he used. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He used this sheep and a scout at the same time to patrol. Look at the following. It was so fast. I'll place the view lockout. This is one sheep, and this is the other. One sheep, the other. How many hotkeys do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A hotkey path. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he was able in 2 more seconds to make 2 opposite separate paths with hotkeys for each sheep to explore, and at the same time exploring with the scout. This is not an 800 elo player, guaranteed. This is way above 1k and maybe 2k. Maybe 2k. Like, details like these are the things that show you that something is not right. Now, don't come to me saying that this is not evidence. This is a second evidence. And this is a third evidence. The proficient use of hotkeys. In only 4 seconds, I managed to detect serious things that something is very wrong about this player. He only had 1v1s, no multiplayer games, 140 games for each, and he already is capable of doing this in under 4 seconds. Now, into my base, look. I was still on the very basic. I'm like an 800 elo player or lower elo player. And I just had to go slowly. And this guy already added everything pinpoint accurate. Too strange. So this guy is a cheater. We already have 3 signs: the game statistics, the Hulk reflex trap, and the proficient use of hotkeys. Let's continue. This alone would be enough to guarantee that this guy is a Smurf. So far, the villagers go for that, and the scout is exploring using hotkeys. The kind of hotkeys that scout is using is not abusive. But the way that he uses 2 sheep to explore separately, that's something very strange. And not typical at all of any 800 player. Now he's collecting sheep. So far, this does not sound anything abnormal. But you'll see he's making hills, lumber camp, etc. The next sign I captured is that when he decides to go to hunt the boar, this boar, he will palisade wall, and at the same time, notice that this player also almost never got housed. Yeah. And now look at what he's going to do with the 2 vills. He's only using one to hunt the boar, and the other one will make the wall. Look at this. What kind of 800 elo player would proceed in making a palisade wall,
Yay,
with the other hunting the boar, without
mandatum,
room, and sufficiently distant from the town center? Now, this kind of risky behavior is not something of an 800 elo player. This is a player who did this hundreds of times. Like, I would never, as a lower elo player, risk my villager, like with this kind of without room, going for a boar far away and without any kind of support between the town center and the village. No. And he still manages to make the rest. Look at this. Right, so here that's normal. And I found it very strange that this guy could use the reflexes of micromanagement. So I call this like maybe the fourth sign, comparing with the kind of hunting. He was able to hunt the boar, while at the same time not lose the villager, use the vills to hunt the boar and everything. So the proficient use of micromanagement that he displayed is not of an 800-year player. Next, the next sign will be a bit more strange. He's going for the boar, but look at what he does next. Now you would assume a player 800 elo. Look, he's quickly palisade walling. Don't you see? It doesn't waste any single time to palisade wall. Kind of strange. I mean, I took my time, but here he decided to. Okay. He goes for the boar. Look what he does. He waits for the exact depletion of the boar. He goes hunting the boar. And look what he does next. A mill. An 800 elo player doing a mill where the boar is. If any resource is precious, then why to do a second mill? Like, I had one mill. I did not have two mills. But of course, as Chinese, I had less resources. I have a penalty of starting resources. But I had one mill. I did not have two. To make a mill, let me check. To make a mill, you need 100 wood. So he didn't mind to waste 100 wood on this. Strange. If every resource is precious in early game, why to waste 100 wood like this? Because the player is overconfident. He was exploring the map. He saw me there, but I was busy with the rest, making barracks. This kind of display is absolutely normal. My scout was just exploring. A small annoyance, but nothing big. And here, first farm. Let us notice how many farms this guy makes. He decides to wall and cover the rest. And he goes to a wood rampage. Meanwhile, I had 3 villagers on gold, 9 on food, and 10 on wood. This guy never went for the gold. Only food and wood. Just like that. So for me, it's a professional player because any loyal player would try to get as many resources as possible of different types. The fact that he refuses to go to gold, no gold miners, is something strange. Now, I don't say every player, 800 elo, does not needs to go gold mining, but to not even go for gold, that's strange. You don't make a mill, you would make a stone mining camp, a mining camp. But he didn't do that because he was confident in his strategy. It was like a rehearsed book. This guy is not a normal player. He was disguised as an 800 elo player, but way above. He's already doing the fourth farm. So he's actually using the wood thing to get for the farm production. So this is another sign. We told about the game statistics. We told about the hawk reflex trap. the proficient use of hotkeys, the proficient micromanagement with the palisade wall design and hunting the boar, and making the mill near the second board at Dark Age. Also the fact that he did not mine stone, he did not go for gold, no gold mining at all. And now he already has 4 farms in the making. 4 farms in the making before feudal. While at the same time going for berry bushes. These things start to tell that something is strange about the player. Next thing, okay, decides to house the rest. Another thing, look at the hotkey abuse of his vil. Now, this is obviously to minimize the path of the vil, but as a normal player, I would never think of doing something like this. So again, the abuse of hotkeys. The abuse of hotkeys as another sign. And we can see this not only with the scout sheep exploration in the beginning, but also when he uses the separate sheep with each separate hotkey to explore, the scout to explore with its own hotkeys, and also now a vil exploring with his own hotkeys. This guy is a hotkey abuser. And I tell you, a player that abuses hotkeys in these elo is definitely a Smurf. I never resorted to this kind of exploration with hotkeys with a vil in such a closed area. No. So again, an evident sign of a Smurf. Okay, he's exploring here. He sees that I did not win for that second boar, but it was not because of that boar. There's too much microplay and metaplay here. You'll see later. Now he goes for the mining camp. He did not went for the mining camp in the beginning. He only goes now for it. How overconfident this guy is. And I think he goes for a mill.
Ready.
No, he goes for a house. Next thing, I enter feudal age. He already has an archery range. And he goes straight for attack. Straight for attack.
Ready.
Only now he has 5 villagers assigned to gold mining. How strange that a player who did not use any villagers to mine gold in the Dark Ages, as quickly as he gets to feudal, uses 5 gold miners in feudal. Guaranteed, this is not a normal player, this is a Smurf. A normal player would probably use 2 villagers or 3, and he would maintain. You know, something I do. I keep the villagers, and eventually I might increase the output. I can eventually take villagers out of other resources and send them to gold. But that would not make sense because otherwise I would get too little of other resources. So I would not do that. And this guy is fully confident. He thinks that, okay, I'll be fine with this. And he goes for a mill. Another sign that this guy is a Smurf. Look at how quickly he goes to capture the valley. He made a notchery range, and he also made a mill in the in the valley area. Kind of like to say, I want to claim this before anyone else comes. He raced to the valley. My god, the abuse of hotkeys, this player. He's already making the blacksmith? Meanwhile, I was struggling. He already had more villagers and everything. I was trying to get the tax, and this guy was already full taking the valley. He goes for the mill, and the next thing, he goes for the hunt. So in order to accelerate food output, he goes for fletching. Nothing extraordinary. And here you see that there'll be a problem. When I thought I had walled everything, there was a small gap here. Now, strangely, I don't know how this gap came to be. I don't know exactly how this gap appeared, but probably I did not wall everything well. Whatever. You'll see. He infiltrated because I thought I had that thing walled. And look, sudden construction of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 farms, adding. So he already has 9 farms. I had like 12 farms, but I started to farm earlier on. And I did not have, these deers and everything. Now here, I was going to make the market and make for a quick transition. But this guy, in a coward move, like opportunistically, he was able to infiltrate here because I thought I had everything covered. This alone delayed the market build, and I lost here 2 minutes. But you still will see that despite that mistake, we still are facing a Smurf. The next evidence that of the Smurf player will be more visible in Castle Age. You'll see. I'll accelerate. Here I kind of like decided to cut the place, etc. What he decided to do here? Stable. So he was completely confident about this. He decided to build away from his main base. He had no problems with it. No problems. And he had everything covered. This makes sense. But the problem is, you'll see later. He decides to echo wall. I go for scouts. He continues to go for archers. I decide to cover the rest. And I don't think, at this time I was already transitioning to Castle Age. How ironic. Like, I got to Castle Age first, but still this guy was able to outmaneuver me. How? He brought 2 scouts. And here I went Castle Age. But let's see what this guy was doing at the base. Look at all this massive farming. 19 farms. 19 farms already. 19 farms. Who has 19 farms? at feudal age. 19 farms at feudal age. It's a Smurf. No player gets 19 farms in feudal age transition to castle age before even going to castle age. I went for race to castle age for a mega race. And I was only able to do 12 farms, but with the Chinese, remember. And I had to face that attack and would slow down for the rest. Meanwhile, the guy was almost putting no one on stone. He had 10 more villagers than me. 10 more villagers. I think he managed to kill one or two, but it's insane. This guy had 10 more vills at this time. At 10 villagers lead, this guy is a massive Smurf. To have a 10 villager lead at this time is incomprehensible. There's no justification to Smurf. It's pure cheating. It's trashy, and it's a behavior typical of scumbags. So we continue with some more evidences. I said 19, but look at those 2 extra farms, because apparently for this guy, it was not enough to show he was a Smurf. He needed to show you he was a mega Smurf. He had 21 farms versus my what? Sorry, I sometimes misclick, but I'm not a fanatic, of computer mouse. 12. Between 12 and 21. This guy has double the farms that I have. Double the farms. So double farming is a sign of smurfing. Double farming is a clear, unequivocal sign of smurfing. You can do the math, right? You can do the math. Here you have 12, and here you have 21. 12 and 21, divide 22 by 12, and that's 2. So it's almost two times more. This guy had 2 times more food output. And he was making feudal army. He was comfortable in his base. Continuing to pour archers. It's fairly easy for him. So his idea obviously was to make crossbows as soon as he got to castle age. Look at our thing. The abuse of hotkeys. The abuse of hotkeys, again using the scout to go around the palisade. He wouldn't need to do that, but he still did that. It's ridiculous. The amount of giveaway signs that this guy is trashing. He's not in his real elo. His elo is probably double or 3 times more. Here I come with the knights to assist, of course. Here goes castle age. But look, he already has... Oh, on top of having 21 farms, he has access to this, so he even gets more food. And as Brits, he's going to use that cheat of the Brits, which is to get a cheaper town center. Here I start to get these things, and he starts to make spears to defend. I get a first vill. I get 2 vills, but that's still not enough. And look at the quantity of food he has versus the quantity of food I have. So in terms of gold, we're similar. But in terms of wood, he has more wood and more food. Of course, I decided to make knights and everything, but while he was still making knights and crossbows, he still had more food than us. Another sign that he was Smurf, as soon as he got to Castle Age, the crossbow upgrade. Like it was the first thing, 2 knights and crossbow upgrades. Did not waste time. Then you'll see something more strange. That is, what was he building, by the way? Second stable and monastery. He goes for the relics. He doesn't hide it. He goes for the relics straight away. An 800-year-old player thinking of, at the same time, booming and going for the relics. The house built up with the hotkeys. He made. Now let me see this clear. This guy is at least a 1.5k. Not only did he make the crossbows, he made the fletching and bodkin arrow upgrades, and he also made the infantry upgrades of the forging. That applies also to cavalry. He made the cavalry army upgrades and the infantry army upgrades. He had massed an army of crossbows and pikemen. And meanwhile, look at how I was. I was struggling. Trying to boom as Chinese, which is already complicated. Trying to get pikes, but with a lesser food output, and this guy already was massively mega farming. It's true I had more wood, but like I decided not to go for that kind of intensive farming. Was not expected. And here I decide to go with a knight's attack. That's when you will see that something very strange takes place. You'll see later. I told you that in Castle Age. So look, I break the barrier here, the palisade wall, and the first thing he comes for a house. Second house, third house. Look at how quickly he housed. This is not an 800. A normal player does not think of doing this as quickly as possible. So he's doing this because he has extensive practice. He has Hulk reflexes to make this kind of house defense in 2 seconds. I realized that I could not get there. He comes with his army, and I leave. And meanwhile, he's continuing to produce knights at a far better economy than me, and I'm struggling. I have more vills than him, but far less resources. He has 1,000 food, and I have like 200 food. Remember that the Chinese have a food penalty bonus of 200. And this pays off. Here, ask him if he was a Smurf. Because I found so strange that he walled so fast. And look at now. Look now at what he does once I breach these walls. This will be the ultimate sign of a Smurf. I get in. Look! He made a siege workshop and a house. But to make sure that I could not pass, he already makes a second house. Smurf. Now, you can tell what you like. This is a Smurf. In 800 ELO, an 800 ELO player will normally freeze once so many knights come. He will try to eventually wall or something, but he cannot make a siege workshop and a house using hotkeys. He cannot do that without freezing. And this guy never froze. So again, this was with another sign of Smurfing. He was able to, in 2 seconds, make an echo build wall in a situation where he should freeze. So it's like the non-freeze effect. He was able to react like a professional player. The non-freeze is not typical of an 800 elo player. The 800 elo player should freeze under this kind of attacks. Luckily, though, and this was the payoff for the other situation, like a few minutes ago, when I told you that he was able to sneak in into that gap, he too made a gap. So Al got through that gap. Still, he reacted confidently. He says he sends his troops back. This is not necessarily a bad sign. He just sends his knights after me and attacks my base. Meanwhile, he has 42 vills and I have 57, but still with that huge foot penalty. It's very complicated. This Chinese foot penalty is too tough. Okay, he decides to wall, and he just continues to produce, soldiers. He goes with his crossbows. Now it's just a strategy of continuing to mass crossbows, and pikemen. I make a castle here, but look at how much stone he has. And he goes for a castle drop. This game felt like impossible. It's like I had so many more villagers than him, but my echo could not catch up. And I think he was getting more gold. No, I was the one getting more gold. Pulled his troops. So far, nothing exceptionally abnormal here. But now look at what he's going to do. The castle dropped. He has an army, so he just decides to use his army to protect his villagers for a castle drop. Now, an 800 player will not do this. This guy raced for the castle drop. This is like a stupid arena one-on-one game. He raced for a castle drop. He decided just to support his advance with troops before going to a castle drop. This is something of a professional player. I call this the professional castle drop. Under 37 minutes of gameplay, which in Valley, excuse me to tell you, is not that much. Maybe you could say, well, you could have decided to make the castle where he was going to make his. Sure, I could, but look at those crossbows. I could not defend myself that greatly. He was going to get in. I mean, the way for me to get to him would be to attack his base with knights. I did have a few knights, but he still had more troops. He started to pump crossbows earlier than me.
Mandatum?
He massed 12 crossbows, 7 pikes, and 4 of these. And he already had 5 knights. I had like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
Ready.
knights, 8 knights, 7
Yay?
knights. 7 knights. And don't forget about that 200 food penalty bonus. And I still did not have the horse collar because of that early stupid attack. Got distracted. Got me distracted. So everything was going wrong. But you'll see. He was trying to open the way, Arabizing the map. He was just booming quietly. He knows that I have no chance. And I call him here. You're just a smurf. You're a cheater. Not cheaters, but cheater. Because no way you come with this kind of army to make a castle drop and have this sort of defense here as quickly as possible. And I've already said like 8 or 10 different things, proving that this guy is a smurf. His abuse of hotkeys is just unthinkable. And he was like scouting every bit of corner. And he's just quiet. Back home, he knows that he's going to win. What is your real elo? He doesn't respond. Another giveaway sign that this guy's a smurf. I tell him he's a smurf. He doesn't respond. I ask him what is his real elo? And then he says, this is my real elo. Or he doesn't even respond. He took time to respond. So he knows that he's been discovered. He knows that I found he was cheating. He was on a that I found. He knows that I found him. That I busted him. That he's way higher skilled than the skills he actually declared. But he tries to find a way to divert the conversation to pretend like I didn't say anything. It's like trying to is downplaying everything I say. He's downplaying. He's using the divert and downplay strategy, which is the typical strategy of someone lying. Since they don't want to be confronted, they divert or they downplay the person that is confronting them. Okay, here I try to defend, that's normal. But against an army of pikes, I can't do anything. Here I was trying to put my knights against the castle, so that the castle would hate these, but he knew that it would not be of his interest. And look, a siege workshop just behind. What? His castle. Look at the kind of build he did, and tell me that this is an 800 elo player. It's not. I'm an 800 elo player, and I struggled. I struggled all this map. I was like steamrolled early on. An 800 elo player. I have like 1400 games played, and this guy was just massively storming. How is this possible? It's possible because he's a cheater of a smurf. He's a piece of smurf. Now he's booming quietly, and I decided to, quit the game because I was already facing a smurf, a mega smurf. No point. Doesn't even react. See?
Yay?
Like, he didn't make any effort. It was like a death signature. And he does this countless times. I tell you guys, this guy is a mega smurf. To quickly recap, we use several factors. The game statistics, only 1v1s, 140 games played by this player, no team games played, and almost a 50% win rate. The Hulk reflexes, quicker than just light speed. In the 3 seconds of the Dark Age, then the proficient use of hotkeys, both the scouts, the sheeps, the separate hotkeys for each sheep scouting, and even the vills. the quick palisade wall design, the proficient use of hotkeys, the proficient micromanagement as well. We know with that palisade wall design here when he was hunting with the boars at the same time, he decided to make the mill instead of saving wood. So it was like he had a play, he didn't have to worry about that. And then the once he got to Castle Age, in the first second, he made 2 knights and a crossbow upgrade. Second. Nothing an 800 player reminds himself, right? And after those 2 knights rushes, look at how quickly he walled here, and the second time you walled like a super pro. I mean, he was just unlucky here that I could pass. Everything else was super calculated. It was pretty quiet. Instead of freezing, he was chilling. Not an ideal player. Um, Other things. You abused his hotkeys, when a villager was patrolling here, and also with the crossbows. Even the crossbows had hotkeys. So strange for an 800 player. And 21 farms? 21 farms. Yeah, 21 farms at a point. And I was still struggling. I decided to farm later, but I only kind of like farmed later by Castle Age with those other town centers. And this guy already was farming, mega farming early on. And he decided to take this whole area. He was so confident. Player that is in lower helos first tries to get strong and only then he will go to attack his opponent. But this guy was so confident outside. And finally, the ultimate evidence was the professional castle drop. And I don't say professional with a compliment, but as something negative. Professional clown. Because in the 37 minutes of gameplay, he already supported his army and decided to build a castle straight into my base. The rest, he didn't even, he kind of like stopped playing and everything else. Everything was just for the castle drop. If a player races to castle drop like a stupid one-on-one arena castle drop, I tell you, this is a Smurf. So there you have it. This guy is a Smurf. This is our conclusion. Yes, you can see the stats and everything, but the kind of play shows exactly if you're facing a Smurf. So this was the first Smurf we faced. Now we're going for the second. Let's see. Stay tuned.